Five Guys just asked me if I wanted to tip. Mind you, I just came in and got my own food.
I'm not gonna tip you just because you turned the iPad around and I pushed the button, bro. Like,
Yep.
You know tipping culture is bad in America when I have to go to custom tip and manually put 0.
Okay, so today we're going to be taking a look at tipping culture. With the rise of food prices across the board and most people's wallets tightening up, this has been a very hot topic online. I mean, basically everybody wants a tip from you now. They just swing the iPad around and they expect a 20% tip on the already inflated prices for a job that they initially signed up for in the first place. Now they're even making it more difficult to not leave a tip, having 0% not be an option. You have to manually put it in front of them. I swear everything in this world is just trying to bleed you dry as much as they possibly can. We have a lot of examples to go over today, along with comments from you guys from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below. But let's just start off with this.
If you're tired of being asked to add a tip to your $7 latte, practically every purchase you make, you get asked to make this tip. Well, a new survey from the personal finance company Wallet Hub reveals, not surprised here, 86% of Americans believe tipping culture is, quote, out of control, and 83% think automatic service charges should be banned. And that's not all. 51% of people say they tip because of social pressure rather than for good service.
We'll get to the social pressure in a second, but this is not talking about jobs that would normally be very common for you to tip, like waiters and servers. It's basically any time you purchase a product, period. But we'll look at some of the comments from this video. If I'm standing up while I order, I'm not tipping. I went to a concert and bought a tea from the merch counter, got asked if I wanted to tip. Tipped you for turning around and grabbing me a shirt. I mean, picture perfect example there. The easiest and fastest fix is that everybody would just stop tipping, but that social pressure, it works, because I have a couple clips up on screen right now with self-checkout asking people to leave a tip. Absolutely no work done by the company or cashier because they don't even exist. They just want to see if they could get even more money out of you, even with today's absurd pricing, especially if we compare it to the past 5 years. Companies, we figured while we're making you pay more, maybe you'd like to give us a little more money for nothing? Almost 50,000 likes on that comment. I bought a plane ticket online a few days ago, no interaction with any sort of human, and the website asked me to tip who? Again, for a plane ticket that is unbelievably expensive now, that tip would 100% just go to the company. Does the tip circulate back into your own bank account because you're doing all the work? That tip better be taken off the total price since I'm doing the work, there you go. But we have another clip up on screen talking about that social pressure when he takes you to coffee but doesn't tip. Now you're supposed to tip more to the cashier who's doing the one job that they signed up for, and now whoever they're with is making them feel bad for not tipping. If you think that this is a red flag, then you are the red flag. Bro, I'm not tipping unless I sit down and get served. Tipping culture in the US is ridiculous. Pay your workers to do their job. It shouldn't be on us for our meals and their employees. Keep that statement in mind for the rest of the video because there are a lot more complaints from the workers to everyday customers instead of their employers that are raking in the profits and paying them bare minimum. I don't know why there isn't more of an uproar against these giant corporations, but somehow the customers are taking most of the flack. We have a comment from one of you guys. At this point, vending machines are going to start asking for tips. I really don't think that's too far out of the question. As ridiculous as it sounds, if we're getting clip after clip of self-checkout asking for tips, I mean, sky's the limit then. Anything could just ask for more money.
Five Guys just asked me if I wanted to tip. Mind you, I just came in and got my own food. How much do you think I paid? Okay, I got a bacon cheeseburger, a strawberry milkshake, and fries, right? A little fry. That's what they call them. A little fry that's all over the bottom of my bag. For $26.07. I could have went to the grocery store. I should have went to the grocery store. I'd have had burgers and fries and milkshakes probably all damn week. And they asked me if I wanted to leave a tip.
I knew as soon as she said she went to Five Guys that it was going to be brutal. I don't know how they could still charge what they do in 2025 with people just not having as much money to spend on expendable things like this. And I mean, who's surprised? They swing around the iPad and they ask you for a 20% tip on top of it. A burger, milkshake, and barely any fries. I stopped eating there because of the prices. I can get a steak meal for the same. I mean, I guess I'm in the same boat as them. I haven't had it in a long time. I like Five Guys. It's pretty good. But the last time I went, I I saw how expensive it was, and I haven't set foot in there since. That's ridiculous. Five Guys is ridiculously expensive, never eating there again. I went there once, they aren't getting any more of my money. So a lot of people had very similar experiences to me. Another set of comments from you guys. There's a Subway that I go to all the time. I asked the guys who make my sandwich if they actually receive any tip money, and they do not. So not only did Subway raise their prices like everybody else, but apparently corporate now wants a tip. Another reply here, same thing with Pizza Hut and Wing Street. The employees on carryout told me they didn't get anything except cash tips handed directly to them. So there are no reasons why you should ever leave a tip, especially when you see the iPad. If you're not putting cash in their hands, the company's probably just pocketing it and making even more money.
Americans are tired of tipping, and the numbers are proving it. The average tip at a full-service restaurant is now down to 19%. On top of that, people are making their own tipping rules. This guy says if he orders standing up, he's not tipping. This user says if they order on their phone for pickup, no tip. I ordered this coffee on my phone and went and picked it up this morning. How much would you tip, or would you tip at all?
So people are getting so tired of it that tipping overall is going down in places that would be more common, like a restaurant, because your tip basically pays all the waiters and servers, even though it should be the employer's job. But that's just basically ingrained in American culture now, so we just have to accept it, apparently. Another comment here, tipping culture originally stemmed from gratitude and appreciation for hard work. However, it now feels more like a forced demand for money, making it hard to distinguish from extortion. I'm not gonna lie, they make a pretty good point.
I'm not gonna tip you just because you turned the iPad around and I pushed the button, bro. Like,
Yep.
the comment that I absolutely hate the most is like when people say like, if you can't tip, don't go out. Like
Right.
it's not. I'm not gonna give out free money, and it's just companies trying to get away with not paying their employees what they
Yes.
deserve. And
They
they
give
have
them-
the assets to pay these people more, but they just don't want to.
Yep.
They give you this option to tip, given this like social pressure to
Yep.
tip. And I agree with you. Like if it's a server and they're coming multiple times and they're giving me good service, bro, I'm gonna
No
tip
doubt.
you. If you're a bad server, you don't get a tip, bro. Like if
Yeah.
you're not working hard, if you come and like you give me water once and you don't come till I ask for the check, like
Yep.
I'm not gonna tip you. Like tips are earned, bro. Like
Yeah.
tips are earned, and companies should pay their people more so they don't have to worry about tips.
Starbucks cashiers at the drive-thru are asking for tips. Like, what? Tips are earned. I'm tired of the guilt tripping. It's wild how these massive restaurant chains with dozens of locations are allowed to pay their servers $5 an hour plus tips. It's just crazy that now the customers are responsible for paying your employees. We have a comment from one of you guys talking about how it really should be in the restaurant industry. In Washington, we have an ice cream place called Molly Moon's that has a sign that says, "No tipping needed. We pay our workers fairly." I wish that was a lot more common, but it just isn't. And another subtopic that really doesn't help this issue that I've seen online are a lot of the waiters complaining about it. On one side of the argument, I understand they need to make a living, but at the end of the day, you still chose this job yourself. You weren't forced into doing it. Just one of the clips up on screen saying, "Please tip your server" over and over again. It's part of a TikTok trend. And you could see this video with 22 likes and 60 comments. You could probably understand the reaction to this. I wish people that complain about not getting tipped would just get another job. No, it's not mandatory. Please stop with these posts whining about tipping, because we have another clip up on screen of a waiter going through all of the tips that she got from a table of 6 women. And I think a couple of them didn't tip at all, which I understand that sucks. And of course they rely on it because they basically get no pay otherwise. But again, you weren't forced into this job. You chose to be a server, and this is what could happen in this line of work. You could give great service and get no tip from someone, and yes, that sucks. But making videos like this for everybody to see online when it's already a touchy subject is just not a good look, in my opinion. I mean, we could take a look at some of the comments. Almost 25,000 comments, by the way. If only servers put this much effort into calling out their employers who refuse to pay them. Kind of hit the nail right on the head there. Here's another one up on screen, and we heard it a little bit earlier. Some videos online said if you can't tip 20 to 30%, just say you're broke and don't go out to eat, that kind of stuff. And we could go into the comment section of this one. Every time I see a video about tipping culture, you just see the hypocrisy of waiters telling other low-income people that they don't deserve to eat out based on the same system that allows them to work for $2 an hour. It's always the "you're too poor to eat out" comments for me, like they're begging for someone else's money who's the poor one. So that's why I think that these types of videos and trends make the whole situation worse. On one hand, I understand it's a very tough job and you're relying solely on customers, but then you making videos putting those same customers on blast instead of the companies and employers who are stiffing you seems kind of ridiculous to me.
I don't think
think we should tip servers because I think restaurants should pay their staff a livable wage like they do in other countries. But unfortunately, that's just not the reality here. So make sure you're tipping your servers because they literally make like $2 an hour, at least in Tennessee they do, which gets eaten up by taxes, so they never see that money.
So do you see how quickly it went from, oh yeah, the employer should definitely pay more, but you as the customer absolutely has to tip. They're banking on that money. It's getting eaten away by taxes. Just letting the companies and the people who hired them get away with paying them virtually no money. And because of these issues, we're starting to see a lot more comments like this. I stopped going to places that want tips. No hair, no med spa, no restaurants. I got an ice cream cone and they asked for a 20% tip. Guess what? Now I have ice cream in my freezer. I'm done with this. It's not affordable anymore. Let alone another topic that I've started to see over the past few years, some people have made videos about it, talking about workers and customer service just not really being good anymore. Everybody's angry, not paying attention, sitting on their phone, or just straight up rude to you, and then they also want a tip at the end of the day.
It annoys me when people who work in service or retail industries get mad at customers because they actually have to do their job now. And I'm not talking about like a customer that's just like berating them and trying to like exploit them and just say like, you do whatever I want because like I'm the customer and you're the employee. No, I'm talking about the people that ask something reasonable and then the employee gets mad and it's like they catch an attitude with it. Like, because here's the thing, I worked in customer service for many different jobs, right? There have been so many times that I did not want to do my job that day. And it happens with everybody. But I don't ever reflect that onto a customer when they're literally just asking a simple request that like is in my job description. I'll give you an example. So I just went to the store, right? And I was looking for an item, but I couldn't find it. So I went up to this worker who was just on her phone. She was in one of the aisles. And so I'm like, hey, excuse me. And she looks up at me and she goes, what? So we already starting off rude as fuck, right? So I'm like, hey, like, I'm looking for this item, like, I can't find it. Do you know what aisle it would be in? And she's like, it should be somewhere over there. Then look straight back down on her phone like I'm not even there.
Some of the comments, excuse me, could I get a fork please? Them, ugh. I feel like these days employees have been getting ruder and ruder. I can see that it just makes no sense to decide to work a service job when you don't like interacting with people. I work at a shoe store and was talking to someone who worked at a different location and she said that I hate getting shoes for people. Like, girl, it's our entire job. And I mean, this bleeds into the server industry. I feel like everybody's had a very rude waiter once or twice. And then when the bill comes, they expect at least a 20% tip. We have another comment from you guys. While I was at Subway, I pressed no tip. The lady looked at me annoyed. The next customer was making an order, and when the customer finished talking, the employee loudly asked, are you gonna tip? That's a very good way for me to never go to that Subway ever again. It really just feels like all of this is just constantly getting worse.
One of the biggest pieces of advice that I feel like I'm constantly telling people visiting New York City is that tipping 20% in restaurants is the standard. Oftentimes, waitstaff make significantly less than minimum wage, so to reflect the high cost of living in the city, you tip 20%. It doesn't depend on the service. It doesn't depend on whether or not the waiter brings a round of free shots to the table. Tipping 20% is the norm in the city, and anything less than that can be considered rude.
So in one of the most expensive areas in the country, it is almost mandatory to give that extra 20% tip on top of the outrageous prices just to begin with, because the staff is still in the same boat, basically making nothing, just passed right on to the customer to pay their wages. Who cares if their employers are screwing them? Another comment from you guys, I live in Japan where tipping doesn't exist, yet the service is top notch. You talked about tips being considered an insult, which is a thing in other countries. This happened to me when I first moved to Japan. I went to a small coffee shop and ordered a coffee that cost 450 yen. I drank and paid with a 500 yen coin and walked out. The woman chased me down and handed back my 50 yen. I was quite surprised. This kind of stuff that we deal with is not common all over the world.
So I'm in Costa Rica right now, and let me just say it's been invigorating being in a country where tipping is actually optional. And this isn't because I don't want to tip. In fact, I've been tipping literally everyone just because I've worked service industry jobs before, like I've been there. But it's made me realize in America, the required tipping culture really just takes away the spirit of the tip. Like, tipping is meant to be a way to express your gratitude and show appreciation for the workers that are doing a really good job. Whereas in America, a lot of the times people are tipping because they're just either supposed to, they feel like they're being forced, or it's almost just guilt driven. And I don't know what the answer is because I'm not going to stop tipping like that. I'm not going to be that. But it has just made me realize,
And I feel like this could be one of the reasons that if you have looked at the stat, tourism is down in the US this summer. So having to pay a little bit extra on the already very expensive prices have probably turned a lot of people away who live all around the world. Another comment, Australian here. We've never had an issue shaming the customer for not tipping. We shame the businesses for being too broke to pay their employees. I'm currently 27 and I've never tipped, and I've never known anyone that has ever tipped. Now, even though it's pretty uncommon, I'm not saying that the entire world doesn't tip, because it has started to spread over to other countries. Here's a clip from the UK.
Guys, I need to know if anyone else has experienced this. So I just ordered this from Amazon, right? And when he was dropping it off, like he handed it on the floor because it's quite heavy. And I picked it up and he said something. I didn't really hear what he said. So I asked him like, oh, what did you say? And he said tip. And I said, what? And he was like, oh yeah, like the tip, like where's my tip? And I just laughed because I was like, oh, that's funny, haha. And he was being dead serious. He was like, no, you didn't give me a tip. Like, are you not going to give me a tip? And then I was like, no. And he said, why? Like, I drove all this way. I was like, because that's your job and we're not in America. Is this normal? Are we now tipping Amazon drivers? Yeah, let me know if anyone else has experienced that.
Nobody tips Amazon, FedEx, or the mailman. That's their job. I'm in the US and I've never been asked for a tip from Amazon. There is a lot more scenarios and lines of work that have asked for tips that I didn't think were common at all.
Question, when you get a tattoo, are you supposed to tip 15 to 20%? Like all of the current tattoos I had, I did tip like basically 20%. But like, what about like the massive pieces that cost more than $2,000? Like I will still tip, but am I expected to like tip like 20% of it?
Wouldn't that already be baked into the price? That's what I would assume, especially when we're talking about tattoos that could be hundreds or thousands of dollars. A 20% tip, you're gonna leave a few $100 extra on top of the massive amount of money you already spent. Wouldn't you just think it would be in the price initially for the amount of time it would take? I'm about to spend $4,000 on a tattoo next month, and I respect these artists, but there's no way I'm tipping $800. My artist says I charge what I'm worth. I don't need tips. I thought that was common for everybody. I guess not. It really feels like it's getting to the point that even though these next clips are skits, you're probably not too far away from reality.
What floor are you going to? 3, please. Gotcha. Excuse me?
Oh, thanks, babe.
Yeah, no problem. I'll just have one quick question for you.
The statement, there's one quick question, I feel like everybody is so tired of hearing that.
Listen, dude, tipping culture is going too crazy. Let me know what you guys think, okay? I went to go get some food, man. I went to go pick up food, and they were like 20, 25%, or 30. I said 0. I'm picking up to go. I have to do the work. I have to go. Like, if I'm sitting down, you're serving me and you're getting me water, all that stuff, I'll tip you, dude. The way I see it is I'm paying you for the food. I'm not paying you for the service because I'm gonna go pick up the food myself. Like, don't need to bag it for me. If I'm gonna have to tip you 30%, I'll bag it myself, dude.
The worst is the self-serve kiosk that asks for tips. We saw that at the beginning of the video. Expecting a tip for takeout is too much. No, we stopped tipping because business owners use that tip data as a reason to not have wage increases for their employees. But now they're making it even more difficult to not leave a tip when we're talking about the iPads, adding on to the social pressure and the cashier staring at you, just so at the end of the day, the company can make even more money.
You know tipping culture is bad in America when I have to go to custom tip and manually put 0. They are so petty that they will do anything in their power to make you start at 18%. And if you don't want to do that, you have to go to custom tip and manually type it. To whoever designed that thinking it would bring in more money, I can tell you right now that it's completely backfiring. I think most people would tip if it just started at 10 or 15%. But if you're starting your tip at 18% and you're making the page unskippable, I will gladly take the time to go to custom tip and put a fat 0.
Some of the comments, what I hate about this culture is them telling us to stay home if we can't afford tips. I didn't work hard for my paycheck that does not include tip for me to pay your wages. I don't tip ever. I don't care. It's not my job to pay your wages. I won't tip if they start at 18%. Do 10, 15, or 20 and more people would tip. But still, when we're talking about the kiosks, why would you? It's just going straight into the company's pockets. And if you don't think that this isn't a real thing, we have a clip up on screen. Restaurant placed a sticker over the no tip option to force customers to leave a tip. So you better believe that this is being rolled out to every POS system just to drain a little bit more money out of your pocket while they simultaneously pay their employees bottom of the barrel wages. But that's all I got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.